Two buses full of schoolgirls travel down a highway that cuts through the forest. Inside, the atmosphere is bright and lively, with everyone chatting cheerfully. Among them is a quiet loner named Mitsuko, who sits apart from the rest, writing a poem in her notebook. Her friends playfully urge her to put the notebook away and enjoy the world outside of it for once. Mitsuko bends down to retrieve a fallen pen when suddenly a violent gust of wind slashes through both buses, cutting through them with deadly precision. The passengers are bisected in an instant. When Mitsuko looks up, the roof of the bus is gone, and the upper halves of her friends' bodies are missing. Before she can fully process the horror, a second gust of wind tears through the area. Mitsuko ducks just in time, narrowly avoiding the same fate as everyone else. As the bus comes to a halt, she jumps off and flees down the highway, running past the upper halves of the slain students. Ahead, she sees a group of 4 girls walking. Mitsuko instinctively pushes one of them to the ground, saving her from the next attack that kills the others. But only moments later, that girl dies too, sacrificing herself while trying to protect a group of cyclists. Alone once again, Mitsuko keeps running until she reaches a riverbank, where the bodies of several schoolgirls have washed ashore. She cleans the blood from her face and changes into a clean uniform she finds nearby. Then, with nowhere else to go, she returns to wandering the highway. After walking for hours, she stumbles upon an all-girls school. Strangely, the uniform she put on matches the one worn by the students. Even more unsettling, the girls at the school seem to know her. Too stunned to speak or ask questions, Mitsuko stays silent. Suddenly, a familiar face approaches, Aki, her girlfriend. Though Mitsuko hasn't seen her in a long time, Aki insists that they've always attended this school together. Another gust of wind blows through, and Mitsuko collapses in fear. But this time, the wind does no harm. Aki helps her up and gently walks her back to the school. Mitsuko is completely disoriented, but she begins to convince herself that the horrors of the morning must have been part of a vivid, lucid dream. She trusts Aki's reassurances that this school has always been their home. Later, alone in a classroom with Aki, Mitsuko finally opens up. She recounts the wind attack and the brutal deaths of her classmates, growing overwhelmed as she speaks, until she starts to hyperventilate. To calm her down, Aki brings Mitsuko to the window and encourages her to feel the breeze. Mitsuko hesitantly reaches out her hand and relaxes as she feels the harmless wind against her skin. The couple shares a soft smile, amused by the absurdity of the situation. Aki jokingly suggests that Mitsuko might have a case of amnesia, then laughs it off. Later, the two join their group of friends and decide to skip class for the day. The 4 girls run into the woods, laughing and playing as they go. Mitsuko's mindset has completely shifted from earlier, lighthearted and carefree. She lets go of everything she experienced, dismissing it all as just a strange dream. They stop to catch their breath by the bank of a river. Aki and Mitsuko share a look, their feelings for each other deepening. Mitsuko opens up and tells the group about her dream, the horrific events from the bus that morning. One girl suggests she may have slipped into a parallel universe, while the others laugh and assume she's making it up. Nearby, they spot a mattress on the ground and begin to playfully fight with the pillows. Feathers fly through the air as they laugh, admiring one another. Mitsuko notices a lesbian couple standing off in the distance, smiling as they watch the group. She assumes the mattress and pillows must belong to them, but the couple disappears before Mitsuko can ask. One of the girls, mid-laughter, says that if they truly want their reality to change, they have to do something unexpected, something out of the ordinary. To prove her point, she flashes her underwear, sending the group into another round of laughter. The comment, though casual, lingers in Mitsuko's mind, sparking deeper thought. A while later, they return to school. Mitsuko and Aki sit together in a classroom when Mitsuko notices a pillow on the floor. As she reaches down to pick it up, their teacher suddenly opens fire on them with a machine gun. The room descends into chaos. Aki and all the others are gunned down in a matter of seconds. Everyone except Mitsuko. The teacher coldly announces that skipping class comes with consequences. Just as she prepares to shoot Mitsuko, 2 of her friends burst in and rescue her, helping her escape. Both are killed in the process, but before dying, the girl who spoke about doing the unexpected urges Mitsuko to go wild if the situation demands it. Mitsuko and a few remaining girls sprint out of the building, still under fire from the teachers. One by one, her friends are killed. Only 5 make it outside. But just as they think they've escaped, the deadly gust of wind returns and cuts down all but Mitsuko once again. With their final breaths, the girls tell her that everything now rests in her hands. With the wind still pursuing her, Mitsuko runs for several minutes until she finally reaches a town filled with people. As she barrels through the crowded street, she shoves aside pedestrians without stopping. She doesn't slow down until she reaches a police station, where she encounters a female officer. The officer is startled by Mitsuko's panicked state and confusion, especially because she doesn't speak and only points wildly in one direction. But then, out of nowhere, the officer calls her by a different name, Keiko. Mitsuko turns to look at her reflection in a mirror and is stunned. She no longer looks like herself. She has become someone else entirely. The officer, who turns out to be Keiko's friend Tomoko, is overjoyed and reminds her that her wedding is just a few hours away. Still trying to process what's happening, Mitsuko, now Keiko, can't think clearly. Overwhelmed, she allows Tomoko to take control of the situation. The two get into a car and head toward the wedding chapel. As if the morning hadn't been surreal enough, things take another bizarre turn. Their car is swarmed by a group of excited women who seem to recognize Keiko as a celebrity bride. They gush with excitement about her upcoming wedding. At the chapel, she's warmly welcomed by even more women. When she's taken to the changing room, she's hit with yet another shock. Aki is there, getting ready. Mitsuko, now trapped in Keiko's body, is speechless. Her mind goes blank at the sight of Aki. She tries to ask what's going on, but Aki quietly whispers for her to stay silent. She promises to explain everything later, hinting that she knows more than Keiko does. With no better option, Keiko lets herself be dressed in a wedding gown while the girls around her gush over how handsome the groom is. As the moment draws near, Keiko suddenly panics. She remembers that she loves Aki and can't bring herself to marry a man. Aki notices her distress and clears the room for privacy. Once they're alone, Aki addresses her by her real name, Mitsuko, and urges her to follow instructions no matter what. Though still confused, Mitsuko trusts Aki and agrees to go along with it. After she's dressed and ready, a group of girls enters the room to escort her to the chapel. But instead of letting them lead her, Aki attacks them, killing every one of them. She tells Mitsuko this is to teach her how to fight. Before sending her down the aisle, Aki hands her a shard of broken glass and tells her to use it on anyone who makes her uncomfortable. Mitsuko walks toward the altar holding the glass instead of flowers. The all-female crowd cheers and claps as she makes her way down the aisle. At the far end, an upright coffin stands. Inside it lies her groom. Suddenly, the guests begin behaving inappropriately, making obscene gestures and stripping off their clothes. They mock Keiko and forcefully push her toward the coffin. When it opens, she is horrified to see her intended groom, a grotesque creature with the head of a pig and the body of a man. The crowd tries to force her to kiss him, but Keiko refuses. Instead, she takes the shard of glass and stabs the creature. Fueled by rage, she turns on the crowd and kills several of the girls around her. Just then, Aki arrives to help her, but their escape is blocked by the 2 teachers from the previous school scene. The duo fights off the teachers, managing to break free and run outside the church. While Aki stays behind to distract their pursuers, Keiko continues running until a girl in a tracksuit stops her, calling her by a new name, Izumi. The girl urges her to join the marathon. When Keiko catches a glimpse of her reflection, she's stunned to see that she has once again changed form. This time, she is Izumi, a well-known marathon runner beloved by many. A large crowd lines the streets, cheering as she runs alongside her friends. They talk about how she's been a skilled runner since middle school. Though Izumi has no memory of this by now, she has given up trying to understand. Instead, she chooses to embrace the moment and starts enjoying the run, especially as she recognizes some of her former school friends running beside her. But the brief peace is shattered when the grotesque pig groom and the teachers begin chasing her once more. Her friends urge her to stay strong, insisting that she's the only one who can escape this distorted reality. Izumi pushes herself harder and sprints toward a distant cave. Upon arriving, she is discovered by another schoolgirl who leads her to a group of eerie girls standing still, their faces hidden behind long hair. The girl then suddenly attacks Izumi, declaring that Mitsuko's survival means the rest of them will never be free. But before she can kill her, Aki appears just in time to save her. Aki then instructs her to repeat the words, "I am Mitsuko." When she does, Izumi transforms back into her original self, Mitsuko. For the final step to escape the twisted world, Mitsuko must pull on two thin strings protruding from Aki's wrists, which will slice her in half. Mitsuko refuses at first, unwilling to harm the person she loves most. But Aki insists, urging her to go through with it. With great pain, Mitsuko finally pulls the strings. Aki is sliced in half, and at that moment, Mitsuko is released into the real world. She finds herself inside a restaurant, her first encounter with any male characters in the entire ordeal. As she walks deeper into the establishment, she notices a group of lecherous men staring at a poster. The poster depicts her as Mitsuko, as well as her alternate versions, Izumi and Keiko. Gradually, she realizes the shocking truth. She has arrived in a crude, hypersexualized city called Men's World. The place is populated entirely by men who obsess over a violent, graphic 3D survival video game called Tag. Within the game, the only playable characters are Mitsuko, Izumi, and Keiko, all variations of the same girl. A man recognizes her immediately and informs her that she has somehow traveled into the future. The revelation overwhelms her, and Mitsuko collapses. When she awakens, she is in a cave-like chamber where life-sized mannequin versions of all the game characters are on display. As she wanders the bizarre exhibit, she encounters an old man sitting in front of a television, playing a video game. He casually reveals the horrific truth. Mitsuko is now 150 years in the future. Long ago, when she was still a high school girl, he had admired her from afar. After her death, he secretly preserved her DNA, along with the DNA of her friends, and created cloned versions to use in his immersive, sadistic video game. For decades, these clones have been manipulated for the entertainment of men. To make matters worse, a younger version of the old man appears beside him and strips off his clothes. He invites her to bed, revealing that the final stage of his game, the ultimate fantasy he designed for himself, is for Mitsuko to sleep with him. As he tries to touch her, Mitsuko's mind flashes back to the moment her friend had told her, "Do something unexpected." The words reignite her spirit. With sudden resolve, she lashes out at the man, screaming in protest and denouncing his exploitation, his obsession with treating girls like object for pleasure. Grabbing a pillow, she tears it open in her fury. White feathers burst into the air, turning red with rage as her emotions spilled out. Then, in a final desperate act of rebellion, she seizes the man's cane and does the unthinkable, something the game never accounted for. She kills him. For the first time, she breaks free from the system. In the final scene, Mitsuko awakens alone in a quiet field blanketed with white snow. Everything is still. The nightmare is over. She breathes in the silence, knowing deep within that the game, the cycle, the control, it's all finally finished. Although much of the story appears bizarre and seemingly senseless, it serves as a metaphor for Mitsuko's homosexuality and the societal struggles she endures as a woman in Japan. Each of the three girls, Mitsuko, Keiko, and Izumi, symbolizes a female character dealing with different but interconnected challenges. Mitsuko represents a high school girl who is in love with another girl. The scene featuring a mattress in the woods symbolizes how society leaves gay women stranded and isolated. Keiko, on the other hand, portrays a woman being forced into marriage with a man she does not love. To her, he appears as a grotesque pig, an embodiment of male desire and control. Then there is Izumi, who reflects a capable and determined girl striving for success. However, she is constantly being chased by the pig, symbolizing the male interference that obstructs her progress. In the final act, the old man who turns all three girls into avatars within his game reflects a society ruled by men, one that exploits and objectifies women while trivializing their struggles. Mitsuko only liberates herself from this bondage by choosing death, an act that finally frees her from the manipulation and control that plague her existence.